There was a comic book convention in New Jersey. I decided, let's go. How bad could it be? Let's have some fun. So I drove about an hour to get there, and it was an unmitigated disaster. Let's talk about why. Up next on this video from Bronzeville Comics. So it was Saturday morning. I decided to get up and go to Collecticon in Edison, New Jersey. Now, you got to be careful when you're Googling something con that's in Edison, New Jersey, because you're typing in con Edison and you get things for a local power company. But anyway, I drove down and it was about an hour drive. So I actually made one wrong turn maybe. By the time I got down there, it was at, I guess, the convention center in Edison. Was it the convention center? Yeah, it was the Convention and Exposition Center in Edison, New Jersey. And it was in an area with a lot of corporate parks. So people were kind of parking all over the place. There were a bunch of parking lots. People were walking from a distance. So I drove past and I saw a line, but then I saw like a parking space open that was right there. So I got a good parking space. I didn't have to, park a distance away and walk. And I get out of the car and I see a line out the door. I go, well, that's a long line. Now, I had not pre-ordered tickets because tickets were $40. And I'm not exactly sure how many comic book exhibitors were. I know there were like voice actors and what have you at the show. So I said, okay, well, let me just get online. It looks like a long line, but okay. So the line kind of wrapped around the building and then through a side parking lot and then out the parking lot and down the street and around the corner. And it had to be easily a mile long, the line. And you can see it here.
Just the first hour. Me too. We gave it a shot. It was.
Almost worse.
Bring it up.
General, that era, I believe.
It could be worse.
Communication.
That's your name.
That's
because you don't put your AC on.
She's the big room too.
I know. Overnight.
Bone back here is like helps them run faster. What is this one?
All right. Here, Alex, come.
So, parking brake. I'm here at Collecticon in Edison, New Jersey, and I just bailed because I have never seen anything like this. It's moving now, but the line to get in, and I drove about an hour to get here, but I'm gonna turn my, I want to go, now let's go this way. Now it's stopped again. The line to get in, I'm gonna turn this around so you folks can see it. It's ridiculous. So, you can't see past the cars, but over there, the line was just moving. The entrance hall's over there, and there are folks lined up, and this is the building. It's 11:11. The show started at 10 a.m. The show has been has been open for over an hour. And now here is our line of folks waiting to get in. So I'm going this way. This is the line. Now it is moving a little bit now. I have to go slow because there's cars and people all over the place. This guy. Now, I was so I started to go to the end of the line. It wraps around the building, but it's not just that, right? So there, and it goes through the parking lot, right? So I'm gonna show you the line. And if you got into this show, let me know what it was like, because I didn't pre-purchase tickets. Tickets were $40. I don't think in my entire life, now it is moving, but mind you, this is more than an hour after the show began. I can't, Disney World, I've been to the Olympics after the bomb when they set up more security in Atlanta, and I can't, how many people does this place hold, right? I mean, this is insanity. Look at this. It's still going. Yeah, no. Now, I know it's kind of funny. There are folks that like, oh, you guys in the East Coast, you always have shows to go to, which is true. But, I mean, look at this. It's... My arm is getting tired. Just trying to hold my phone up, which I probably shouldn't be doing while I drive. And this is, I guess, this is the end of the line. I just don't have patience for that. We're gonna have to pivot. So I just bailed. I was gonna go there. Usually when I go to a con or a show, and thankfully, usually when I go to a con or a show, I'll stay for a couple hours. I'm not usually, unless it's a special circumstance, because I have like a wife and kids and we have to do stuff together and get things done around the house. I usually stay for a couple hours, and I was thinking of bringing the kids because and I've mentioned this before, a con has things other than comic books. It has Funko Pops, it has cosplay, it has trinkets and jewelry and swords and a whole bunch of stuff. Signings and actors and voice actors and all that sort of stuff. Generally speaking, a comic show has comic books, full stop. So the ones that, and generally speaking, a con is more expensive than a show because a con has to spend money to bring the guests in, the talent, whether it's comic book creators or actors or whatever, they have to bring them in. You're paying those individuals when you go to their table, but they're getting a fee from the con up front, even before anybody, gets a signature from them or a picture or whatever. So generally speaking, it's more expensive. So this was $40. Generally, the shows I go to, like the Edison show, the Route 110 show, comic shows, which are smaller but very comic book centric, and are $5. So, but thank goodness I didn't bring the kids, because, I started to walk and I got about, not even halfway through the line. And the guy's like, yeah, I've been here for an hour waiting. Now, he said that they had like one door in, and people were getting in very slowly because people were trying to pull up their tickets on their phone. Everything was bottlenecked. So I said, okay. And then I'm walking, and then somebody says Bronzeville. It was a father and son, and the son recognized me from the channel. Hello. And I stopped and I was chatting with them, and I'm like how far back does this go? It was, you saw in the video, it was forever. And at that point, the thing wasn't moving. And this was an hour after the show started. I've been to New York Comic Con. New York Comic Con, there are a lot of people, right? And you get there when you get there. I usually, as years have gone by, like last year and the year before, I got there very early. So I was in the Javits Center waiting, and you just kind of wait for an hour or so until the actual show starts, but they have everybody lined up. And once the show starts, it's quick, right? Because they check your tickets and everything before you get on that line, because they have an area underneath. But I've been to, I've been to the Olympic Games. I went to the Olympic Games in Atlanta. And even after there was the bombing in Centennial Olympic Park and they had additional security, I never saw lines like this that you had to wait on. These were worse than Disney World lines, on the busiest day. It was insane. And again, it was an hour into the show. It wasn't like everybody was there waiting and it was like the doors had just opened and everybody's lined up. It wasn't moving after an hour. So I was talking to this father-son for a while. I said, I'm just going to bail. I can't, I don't have time to spend. It would have been at least an hour probably waiting online. I'm out. So I pivoted. I said, well, what am I going to do? Let's do a little comic crawl. Now, I didn't crawl as much as I wanted to. I just looked comic shops near me, and I headed to a couple. Actually, the first one I went to was, and I'll put the information in the description. It was Heroes World in close by Green Brook, New Jersey. And they had a handful of short boxes and books on the wall. I just picked up a few books from them.
Which was it, a buffalo or a bison?
I'm not sure what the difference is, but that's not really important, is it, sir?
I'll decide when it is, folks. You, wake up the cut. Search the entire room. What?
That was the captain who just threw overboard.
Then wake up someone I haven't thrown overboard and search the room. There's something going on here, and I don't like it.
It's almost dawn. We're running out of time. You sure this is gonna work?
It should. These vents reminded me of our little trick back at the village. We're gonna do the same thing, but on a much bigger scale. There's a huge deposit of coal at the base of this island. The whole system is bound to leak. Kate closed off all the vents except one. When he does his airbending, the coal only has one place to go.
But I was chatting with the owner for quite a while, so that's what I tend to do with these things. Yeah, the hunting. I picked up a Batman 475, first Renee Montoya. That's a pretty nice copy. And Renee Montoya was a member of the Gotham City Police Department, and later on she becomes the Second Question. And then this from the Grant Morrison X-Men run. This is number 118, first appearance of the Stepford Cuckoos, like $3. And then this was interesting because I noticed something. Let's see if you notice it. Right, with this classic Jim Lee cover with Cap, Wolverine, and Black Widow, X-Men 268. Right? There should be something under late September there. I actually have another copy that I just put in a pile to grade. So if you look at this book closely, ordinarily, like there's an obvious space here. And I wasn't even sure what should be in the space that isn't there, but it's the UK price is not there. And I'm not even sure, is this the same price? It is $1 and $1.25 Canadian. So everything else about the book is the same, but this is a reprint that was available through JCPenney. And there were other books. There was like a Random What If book, a couple of other X-Men, a Captain America, a Hulk, a Thor. This is, and there was Avengers 4. But the Avengers 4 reprint is clear that it's not a book from 1963. This looks just like 268. But it is, very hard to find. As a matter of fact, I think there are only 64 universal copies on the census. Now, I'm not sure when, because with newsstands it was separate. I'm not sure if CGC always broke out the difference here, but this is actually in pretty high grade. The only thing, and I think it's pressable, is in the bottom corner here by the spine is a little bit of roughness. Now, I'm not certain there what's color breaking and what's part of the artwork. I should bring up a better copy of 268 to compare. Even so, it's still a reasonably high-grade copy. Yeah, I'll have to find a copy of 268. I imagine it breaks some color, but the rest of the book is really nice. There are no other spine ticks. And there's some pressable defects on this. So I'm going to submit this and see what I get. And since there's so few of them, this is not a bad book to submit. I figure, at least what I would sell for plus case cost. So then the owner of the store recommended another store on the same road a couple towns down on Route 22, and I went there, and it was JC Comics in North Plainfield, New Jersey. And I went in there, and they had a bigger selection. So let's take a look at that store. So I went through the bins. Now, I was running later than I should. Like, one of my kids called me and like, what are we going to do about lunch? I'm like, there are Hot Pockets in the fridge. It's like, can we have last night's leftovers? I'm like, sure, whatever you want, So they fended for themselves. So I picked it up. I thought I got pretty good deals for Action Comics that I needed. Like a nice Neil Adams cover here. And then some other checkerboard books. Solid mid-grade. Nothing particularly high-grade. But I thought the deals were pretty good. They were like about $10 each. I picked up... This was a set for $10. The Hulk Future Imperfect 2-issue set there. Right? So that was pretty cool to grab. Because I was going kind of through the silver bronze, but other stuff was mixed in there. I didn't find anything else in the other titles I was looking for. But I found this. Ghost Rider 31 newsstand. It was $5. And then this is in decent shape. It's probably like an 8. Spectacular Spider-Man, number 27. This is the first time Frank Miller does Daredevil art in this book. So that's a bit of a key. And this was also $5. So, for a decent condition, $5 I thought was a really good price. Because I didn't want to go home empty-handed. Because I'm a little crazy when it comes to looking for comic books. So, anyway, that's about it for this video. I'm just glad that A, I didn't bring my kids, and B, I didn't purchase tickets ahead of time. I generally, unless it's like one of the major ones, and I'm, New York, Baltimore, Terrificon. I've not yet been to San Diego. Maybe when I retire, I'll be doing some more traveling to shows. For a kind of local con, I don't want to wait online. And I've been to 2 cons in the last month, the Garden State Fest and the Undiscovered Realm in White Plains, and they were both buy the tickets to go in. And no fuss, no muss. I think this particular show is more geared towards cards, like Pokemon cards and stuff. And, I saw a lot of, people there that didn't necessarily seem interested in comics, but Funko Pops. At the second store, I ran into some people who had been there, and they got a Darth Maul Funko Pop signed by, it escapes me the name of the actor that signed it for their kid. And, they had a positive experience, but they did say it took them a long time to get in. If you were at the show, if you were there, how was your experience? I saw online a couple people, one person posting that it was kind of disorganized, but let me know about your wait time, because I'd be interested, because I did not have the patience. So, yeah, it was a little bit of a trip. I drove a lot today because this evening I drove about an hour north to take my kids to the drive-in movie. So, been doing a lot of driving today, and I'm probably going to a show in Long Island tomorrow. So, I'm worn out. You can take a look at a couple of my other videos here, and this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.